America's Heartland is made possible by
They make up a small part of our population, but have a huge impact on our lives. They take business risks few others would tolerate, all on our behalf. They're American farmers who feed, fuel, and clothe the world. Monsanto would like to recognize them for all they do for the rest of us. Because ultimately, our success and everyone else's depends on theirs.
and by the American Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of agriculture.
Hi, I'm Akiba Howard. We're headed out west to meet the man that sings the theme song for our show, Michael Martin Murphey. He's a well-known performer and a man who champions the cause of American agriculture.
I'm Jason Shoultz. If you have a garden at home, you know just how important water is to growing your fruits and vegetables. Well, think about the impact on farmers. I'll take you to Georgia, where new research is being done to change the way that agriculture looks at too little H2O.
I'm John Lobertini. You know, creating distinctive wines for consumers requires top-notch farming and attention to detail. Well, we're going to take you to Missouri and introduce you to a couple that's decided their future is in producing one of the world's oldest crops. That's coming up next on America's Heartland.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand. In America's heartland, living close to the land.
Every week, we bring you stories about the families that work the farms and ranches across the country. And part of that story is told in our theme song, words and music of a commitment to the heartland.
There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand.
On this late summer afternoon, singer-songwriter Michael Martin Murphey has brought his award-winning music to this high mountain meadow in southeast Colorado.
America's heartland, close to the land.
It's a performance that taps into his country roots and his admiration for people who make their living on the land.
I kind of grew up more in the piney woods of Texas and saw people clear the land and work really hard. That piney woods country, to get a pasture, you got to really work hard to clear it.
Murphy's rendition of America's Heartland has been the show's theme song from its beginning. Performing keeps him on the road, but he works his schedule to spend a significant amount of time here in the rolling hills and mountains of northern New Mexico and southern Colorado.
All you want to make sure of is that just your cinch has got some tightness to it, but not too much tightness, and you'll be just fine.
Sounds good to me. Can't wait.
Offstage, Murphy can often be found in the saddle, keeping horses for himself and his family at their cabin near Red River.
So how'd you start riding?
Well, my granddaddy was a cowboy in East Texas. He was from Kentucky, and he moved from the coal mines of Heartland, Kentucky, to East Texas to be a cowboy, and that's all he ever wanted to do was run cattle. So he taught me how to ride.
There's a lost river that flows, and a valley where no one goes, where the wild waters rush, runs deep in the hush.
The settings here allow Murphy to perform in some unique venues. The outdoor stage at the Bobcat Pass Adventures is a cowboy campfire for his music and others.
A lot of our cowboy songs don't come from people that look like me, or look like Clint Eastwood or Roy Rogers.
Right.
They come from the Indians, they come from the ex-black slaves, the ex-slaves from the South. They come from the Spanish people.
And Murphy often showcases performers like Native American artist Carpio Water Crow. But throughout the summer, many of Murphy's shows begin with a train ride on board the San Luis and Rio Grande Railroad.
All aboard!
Narrow gauge came in mainly during the gold mining era.
The San Luis and Rio Grande takes audience members up some 9,000 feet to Colorado's La Vida Pass. There, solar and wind power provide the energy at the High Meadow Amphitheater.
On a dark flatland she rides, on a pony she named Wildfire.
With sidemen Gary Roller and Pat Flynn, concert goers are entertained with music,
On a cold Nebraska night,
and some tongue-in-cheek country humor.
For a great farm to run or a great ranch to survive, it takes a couple. Boys, when you're dating, date anybody that you want and have a good time. But when you get married, you make sure that you marry a woman who can run a bobcat and back a trailer.
There's a theme that runs through the music Murphy's written and the songs he performs. A celebration of those who provide the food, fuel, and fiber we enjoy as a nation.
If you can't figure this out, you can't figure out anything, and that is, there is no culture without agriculture. Working hard is something I just really respect, and you don't find harder workers than people who work the land.
you can see it in the eyes of every woman and man who stands.
Every single day that you get to ride in the saddle and every single day that you get to get out there and work on your tractor on a good day is a fantastic experience.
In America's heartland, living close to the land. In America's heartland.
Railroads revolutionized agriculture in America, making it easy to ship commodities like corn and wheat great distances in a short amount of time. A steam engine nicknamed the Best Friend lays claim to being the first American-built engine. It rolled into service in 1830. It had a short career, however. A boiler explosion took it off the rails in 1831.
Having enough moisture in the ground is critical to ensure a crop, whether or not you're growing a home garden or hundreds of acres of cotton. Here in Georgia, farmers and researchers are working together to ensure they use every drop efficiently.
Without water, without proper timing of water, without our ability to use it, we couldn't exist.
For Glenn Cox, water is life, or at least crucial to his livelihood. This fifth-generation farmer grows sweet corn, field corn, and peanuts on his 1,000 acres in southwest Georgia. And season after season, Cox is at the mercy of the weather.
And crops like this sweet corn are totally dependent on critical water at critical time.
But getting water when they need it is an ongoing challenge for Georgia farmers. This region's been battling drought for several years, and the state's locked in a 20-year-old water war with Alabama and Florida. Those two states covet Georgia water from places like the Chattahoochee-Flint River Basin. That water forms the Apalachicola River in Florida and also flows into Alabama to help irrigate crops, generate power, and protect freshwater ecosystems like the Apalachicola Bay off the coast of Florida.
Without water, there's really not much agriculture here. Certainly, maybe even more important than even oil in our part of the world.
Now it looks like science may be able to broker a peace treaty. Welcome to the Stripling Irrigation Research Park, 130 acres packed with 1,000 test plots, from peanuts to pecans, soybeans to sweet corn. Here, University of Georgia researchers are working with experts from the Department of Agriculture and even the Nature Conservancy. The goal, grow more, use less. The method, modern technology.
We call it variable rate irrigation, and it was developed to allow our farmers to do a better job of applying their irrigation water. In essence, it makes it much more precise than earlier.
Statewide, Georgia farmers use about 15,000 of these center pivot sprayers.
huge metallic structures that roll slowly across entire fields, spraying massive amounts of water, and a lot is wasted. But now a new computerized system senses moisture levels in the soil to see which areas need more or less water and adjust the volume accordingly. Result, a 17% reduction in water used.
In Georgia, there are approximately 15,000 center pivots, so if we equipped maybe just 2/3 of those, let's say, with a system like this, we could save billions of gallons of water a year.
And this is only one of many ways science is seeking to save this precious resource. Drip irrigation, watering crops beneath the soil, and developing crops that need less water to begin with. It's a cooperative effort, scientists and those who work the soil making changes for the present and the future.
Water is critical. Wasting water is foolish. We have to be stewards of this land, and being a steward means we have to manage it properly.
Water is a critical agricultural issue in many parts of the world, not only for livestock, but growing crops as well. It takes more than 110 gallons of water to grow a pound of corn, 65 gallons to grow a pound of potatoes, and hundreds of gallons to plant and raise a pound of rice.
I'm Rob Stewart, and still ahead on America's Heartland, we'll take you to Alabama, where cotton planted in 1896 is still having an impact on farmers today.
I'm John Lobertini. Still ahead, you'll meet a young Missouri couple who changed careers for a future in distinctive grapes and fine wines.
Hello, I'm Paul Robbins, and here's something you may not have known about agriculture. There's no doubt that honeybees are important to agriculture. Close to 1/3 of the world's crops are pollinated by the busy little bees. Add to that, bees give us honey and create beeswax, which is used in everything from candles to cosmetics. Truth is, we've been depending on bees for a very long time.
The ancient Egyptians used honey for more than 500 medicinal potions, and even today, honey is recognized for certain antibacterial properties. Greeks and Romans referred to honey as the nectar of the gods, and athletes used honey as an energy booster. Europeans brought domesticated bees to the Americas and established hives here in the New World. A few facts and figures for you. An average hive will have 1 queen bee, hundreds of drones, and thousands of worker bees. Those bees will collect pollen from thousands of flowers and plants as part of the honey-making process, and different flowers give honey different flavors.
And by the way, if you've ever seen a bee zip around, don't try and swat them. You should know that bees can reach speeds of up to 15 miles an hour.
Cotton is one of the most important textile fibers in the world. It is a crucial crop, not only in the U.S., but all across the globe. Well, researchers in Alabama are proving there's a better way to grow cotton now and in the future. It is a lesson that began a long time ago. Cotton is critical to Alabama's economy. The state produces more than 500,000 bales each year, worth more than $140 million. And Alabama's Auburn University lays claim to part of cotton's success. The university's old rotation is home to the world's oldest ongoing field research on cotton production. Test plots here were first planted in 1896, a time when cotton farmers thought taking their fields down to bare soil was the best planting practice.
They were real proud of the way they buried all the crop residue and left the fields bare and no weeds. But in the meantime, there's a lot of soil erosion that went on. All the nutrients were washing down in the creeks.
For more than a century, plant scientists here have manipulated conditions to test theories on field conditions that directly impact cotton harvests.
The big improvement that we've seen is when we go ahead and plant a winter cover crop. You know, keep something green here year round. Keep those roots growing and keep the soil from washing away. Somewhere around in here.
The continuity of research has also allowed students to take a hands-on approach in evaluating things like the impact of crop rotation, field moisture, and plant nutrients.
And some plots they're taller and more lush. This one's got a lot more compared to all the other ones, most other ones.
On this late summer morning, student Stephen Tapley and his colleagues are evaluating planting procedures that affect crop yields. It's a unique connection to the roots of the past.
It's neat to know that 100 years ago people were doing the same thing on the same spot.
But the work here is not just historic comparison. Information gleaned from these research efforts makes its way to county extension agents who work directly with farmers in the field. Tom Ingram is one of those farmers. He's been working his land for more than a half-century, often utilizing research that's come directly from the university field studies.
We used to make, early days, when I started, maybe a bale to acre. Today we make 2 to 2.5 bales, so that's double.
And Tom hopes the lessons found in the soil at the old rotation will leave his land in better shape for future generations.
I plan to leave it in better condition for son when they take over than it was when I started.
Auburn's research in testing better methods to improve yields is something the university says touches on a belief that agriculture is critical to our nation.
And that notion goes back as far as Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson felt like and said that those who cultivate the soil are the sturdy yeomen that form the backbone of the republic.
As the research here continues, scientists approach their work with a respect for the past and an eye to the future.
Just dispelling the notion about that cotton itself is hard on the soil, or that you couldn't grow cotton continuously. I think we've proven that if you do it the right way, with the winter cover crops and use the other recommended practices, you can keep growing cotton.
Cotton was one of the earliest fibers known to man, dating as far back as 5000 BC. When Columbus arrived in the New World in 1492, he found cotton growing in the Bahamas. By 1500, cotton was known throughout the world.
Do you like baked potatoes? Do you like them loaded with chives, butter, sour cream? Sour cream? What is it about sour cream? I've always thought sour was something not desired in the food world, but sometimes it is, like lemon or vinegar. What is it exactly about the sour in sour cream that makes it taste so good?
Okay, before things get too confusing, sour cream doesn't start out that way. Sour cream is actually heavy sweet cream fermented with bacteria cultures derived from lactic acid. The bacteria not only changes that taste of the cream, but also causes the cream to become the thick and tangy concoction we dollop generously on potatoes and burritos. The term sour refers more to the production process of souring than it does to the mildly sour flavor. So what's the skinny on sour cream? Well, let's talk butterfat. There's less saturated fat than you'd get in an equivalent portion of mayonnaise and less saturated fat than some 12-ounce portions of milk. Luckily for the weight-conscious among us, there's light and non-fat versions that utilize stabilizers to replicate the thickness of regular sour cream. You can actually make a sour cream substitute at home. Take a cup of cultured buttermilk, add 2 cups of heavy cream, and leave that in a warm place, about 80 degrees or so, for 8 to 24 hours. The bacteria cultures in the buttermilk will interact with the cream, resulting in that thick, velvety goodness that so many people love.
So, do you have trouble peeling off those pesky sour cream lids? Well, manufacturers have got your solution, squeezable sour cream. They're marketing it right now. Just the thing you need to make any dining occasion that involves sour cream that much more convenient.
If you enjoy a glass of wine with dinner, our next story should pique your interest. It involves a young Missouri couple who's decided to tie their future to one of the world's oldest crops. Jason and Colleen Gerke are a match made in winemaking heaven. He knows marketing and public relations. She comes from one of California's richest winemaking regions.
The ones up higher, though, don't look like they're ripening as fast.
Their first bottles were little more than science projects in a basement in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. But in 2004, Jason and Colleen decided to try their hand at agriculture, planting grapes on a piece of farmland not far from the city. Jowler Creek Winery was born.
First, we thought it was going to be a hobby, and we'd put some grapes in, and they'd look pretty driving up the road. And so we put 250 in the first year, and just kind of got out of hand from there. They're pretty green.
Cabernets and Chardonnays won't survive the Midwest heat and humidity, but Norton's Vignoles and several other local grapes thrive.
Her dad, he's very fond of our reds.
They passed the in-law test. Colleen's parents are admitted wine snobs, but confirmation of their agricultural acumen came in 2007 when consumers sampled their wines during a regional arts festival.
The response was great. They really liked it. We sold wine. It was very fulfilling, you know, after planting little sticks in 2004 that looked like dead sticks, and you never know, you're wondering, okay, these are gonna grow, right?
That moment uncorked the dreams that had been fermenting for years.
As soon as you taste it, there's a real woody taste to it.
Since then, the Jowler Creek brand has medaled at regional wine competitions. Some varieties are aged in barrels made of Missouri oak, but Colleen's California influence is a subtle but constant presence.
Most white wines are filtered, but you'll see in your glass there's going to be a little bit of sediment, and there's some sediment still in the bottle. And that is just keeps it doing kind of a gentle fermentation in the bottle, which gives it almost like a champagne taste to it.
Really? Today, their hobby is a growing business. These wine vats help fill the demands of more than 24 stores. And marketing is also focused on local and regional restaurants. A national push to buy local has also helped, giving these young winemakers a higher profile in a state better known for its St. Louis beer history.
I think that plays to our advantage that we are small. And Jason and I, we're the ones who go out and go into the local stores and do the tastings there, and people can actually talk to us.
Missouri once had a thriving wine industry dating back more than 100 years, but national laws on prohibition brought winemaking to a halt in the 1920s. With prohibition's repeal in the 30s, the industry began a slow growth back.
Yeah, a little sugar in there.
Jason and Colleen have also added livestock to this ag adventure. These baby doll sheep assist in their efforts to be sustainable while keeping grass and weeds in check.
We don't have to mow, buy diesel, that's a pain nowadays. We don't spray to control the weeds. Definitely embrace the idea of being efficient, reducing your carbon footprint, leaving it better than we started.
Missouri has close to 100 wineries today, and the industry has grown dramatically in the past 10 years. And while Jowler Creek Winery is not yet as well known as its California counterparts,
that's our Chambourson, and that one's a French hybrid.
The winery does have a tasting room, and it's considered a must-stop on a tour of regional boutique wineries. It also benefits from friends and farmers nearby.
Back here, you want to help your neighbors, and so when there's work to be done, your neighbors come over and pitch in.
Well, that's going to do it this time. Thanks for traveling the country with us on America's Heartland.
And remember, there's lots more on America's Heartland at our website, including videos from the stories from today's show. Just log on to americasheartland.org. We'll see you next time.
To order a copy of this broadcast, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923. The cost is $14.95 plus shipping.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
America's Heartland is made possible by
They make up a small part of our population, but have a huge impact on our lives. They take business risks few others would tolerate, all on our behalf. They're American farmers who feed, fuel, and clothe the world. Monsanto would like to recognize them for all they do for the rest of us. Because ultimately, our success and everyone else's depends on theirs.
And by the American Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of agriculture.